are the hottest artists on the planet, Tiamat. Heinous here. Because I'm gonna let you know, if you're in the water, you're gonna die. Illuminati dies here today, Mom.
It's a shark in the zoo. They say in Babylon, put the mark on him too. His whole body light so we can maul other guys. If my all-seeing eye going dark on me too. And them coffers for you. I'm ready, so the devil who I call out first. I heard God call, he said behind the great wall. He I made a sword off to kick them all off earth. Hey, so my click don't play. Heaven gotta choose the wolf or the lamb. Get shot down by a pig in the street. Why do niggas gotta beef when it's a whole lot of hell? Alright, it's a hole in the dam. They can't flood Merc, so they shoot down gangs. Merc fly high, baby, Merc won't die. I don't see nobody here that can shoot down planes. It's like I shoot down veins. You're turning everybody in the hood to an addict. You live 6th grade to a bully with a habit. Cause I'm a switchblade or a fully automatic. Let's go. It's only 2 ways out. Don't ever try to sit or think of running cause you can't. It's only screaming die while you running out of tank. It's screaming try bitch while you running out the bank. Cause my click don't pay. I'm probably in your range getting brain with the semi. My hoe act right like she came with an Emmy. She want black pipe cause she came with the Remy. Ain't no pain even in me. You probably wouldn't know where I blow back kush. It's 5 knockouts when it's 5 cops out. Or it's 5 shots out from the big bad wolf. Better bitch gon' say that my click don't play. I threw a clip in the cave, but I'm probably in your range getting brain with the semi. Better bitch gon' say that my click don't play. I threw a clip in the cave, but I'm probably in your range getting brain with the semi. Better bitch gon' say this is the only way I know to handle this. A whole lot of guns and a whole lot of cannabis.
Shots fired at ScrewTube, but shots out to you carbon babies. This is your melanated warrior, Heru Heinous, and this is another installment of Facts Over Feelings. Leave your feelings at the door so we can get to the facts, because the facts are the only things that matter in a race where the first one to the mind is the winner. Shots out to the Crystallogians. We about to cook today. We about to cook because, you know, like we said, this is Black History Month. It's a lot of stuff that we need to go over. I mean, and of course, we know that we are encroaching upon some very big celestial, a very big celestial event. So it's time for us to prep ourselves so that we can have access to that energy. But we must make sure that our body is aligned with the energy in order to accomplish that task. So I'm gonna just look at the chat right quick as before we get started. Oh, we got Letitia Taylor in the building. I say Hamichi said we in here. Fishbone is in here. 100 Kai's in here. Dion said FOF was good. Family was good with it. All right. Chef say act right like she came. Act right like she came with an Emmy. I'm telling you. All right. 999 Soul said ready for today's lesson. Latoya Hayes says peace brother. Hey Ru and family. It's time for close. Yeah, it is. Riz Mo said FOF time. Yeah, Victor Carmichael said, wake their ass up. Facts over feelings. Oh, yeah, it's definitely about to be. Let me get ones in the chat before we get started. Make sure that the audio is correct. Obviously, we got to go through this just so, you know, when we transition the screens, too, just to ensure that we have no audio issues and we can get started because we got a lot to cover. This is, you know, as always, we don't want to waste your time. We don't waste time because we only can give you information that you can use. That's our job here at the FOF squad. So let me get ones in the chat. Make sure. Hey, love said, hey, Ru, what's up? Ones in the chat, you guys came. Okay, we got ones. All right, let's get started. All right, so this is the thing. Small recaps, all right, but we always want to make ourselves, you know, we always want to be aware of what the fundamentals are, right? We talked about being fundamentally sound. And the only thing that we want to keep repeating before all of these segments is that we know that they use a science called X-ray crystallography in order to accomplish their agendas. Okay. All right, this is what they used to figure out what the so-called unseen universe was made out of. And obviously, in order for them to amass the power that they feel like they needed to do what? Dominate this so-called planet and realm, reverse engineer Mother Nature to get the power they need to, make sure that they can engineer this realm, as we said before, in a way in which they will be able to not only survive but flourish. So what do we do, in all of this? Okay, well, it's our job to gather all of this information. We know and understand that we've been given the highest clearance by our ancestors in order to analyze the past so that we can remake the future. This is very important, all right? And as we're mandated to do such a thing, we have to understand that we must do it with the thought process that leads us, gives us the understanding that nobody is above reproach, but nobody is beneath respect. Okay, the process in which we employ in order to gain the truth has to be one in which we just don't tear through everything, right? Just to disrespect people. We're doing this in the most respectful way imaginable, in my opinion, because we have to know the good, the bad, and the ugly, like we talked about. That's the name of the game. Because if we're going to make judgments and decisions that are going to affect us, our family, and Mother Earth, we have to be able to live with this decision. And the only way to be able to live with this decision is if we have access to all the information, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because the only way for me to know, like we said before, in order to make the right decision, I have to know the story. And the only way to know the true story is to know the whole story. All right, so let's get into it because, like I said, we got a lot to cover, and we're going to revisit some things because we have to show these things. Like I said, you can never put yourself or subject yourself to analyzing things with a compartmentalized mindset, right? We must know the whole story. So what we're going to do first, we're finna start it off hot. We finna jump right into the pot. This is a video that I've shown on this channel, before I erased this video, like we said, because we're revamping all of these things. We have new insights, so we wanted to be able to present this information with a whole new outlook. So we went over this, but we want to go back over it again and see how it all ties in. And we're going to hit so many different levels simultaneously. It's finna be insane. So I hope you guys really enjoy this. And so like I said, first we're going to take a look at a video, this Nestle video, okay? We're going to preface this by 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, education, scholarship, but overall here at the FOF Squad, waking your ass up. All right, so let me prep this right quick. All right, hold on 1 second, y'all. Here we go with that. All right, so let's get into this right quick because this is heavy. We got a lot of stuff to do. And like we said, we're going to get our Einstein-Rosen bridge going on, our wormholes connecting two distant points. You know how we love to connect the dots because like we said before, you can see the dots, but do you have the ability to connect them? And that we feel like is a big talent of the FOF Squad that we exercise in order to get you guys to do what? Wake the fuck up. So let's go. All right, I'm going to share my screen. All right, one's in the chat if you guys can hear me okay. One's in the chat if you guys can still hear me. As we transition screens, obviously there's a little delay, so it's going to take me a second to. But let me get ones in the chat. All right, I got this video playing and shit. Hold on, one's in the chat. Okay, you guys can hear me. All right, let's go. Start this from the beginning. Let's get it.
In the world's poorest countries, around 1 in 4 children are engaged in child labour.
The world's biggest food company, Nestle.
The Nestle company.
Nestle collects millions of gallons a year from springs in Southern California.
Would you agree with me that your product should not be used where there is impure water?
They are taking the water that should not be owned by anybody.
Using indentured servants in parts of Asia, of using child slave labor in parts of Africa. They've been trying to steal water everywhere from Brazil to Flint, Michigan. When it comes to corporations operating without any regard to human health and safety, the Nestle Corporation really seems to be in a league all of its own. What's going on with this company?
Nestle is the largest food and beverage corporation in the entire world. They own over 2,000 different brands and sell chocolate, cereal, coffee, baby food, water, ice cream, and so much more. In fact, it would be difficult to go shopping and not buy something that's owned by Nestle. And yet, the company is accused of some truly horrific things, including child slavery, killing babies, exploiting the poor, claiming water shouldn't be a human right, and countless other scandals. So, what's the truth? And if Nestle really is this evil, how are they getting away with it? This video is a journey into the dark world of Nestle, a look behind the curtain at one of the most controversial companies ever. But to understand the story of Nestle, we first need to go back to the man who started it all.
Motherfucker said a real life horror movie on your ass. I mean, because we live in it. Like, we know this, but he ain't telling us nothing new because, like Malcolm X said, we have yet to receive the American dream. We are only living the American nightmare. Let's continue.
Free to play with a chance at $2 every day. Reward Machine is your chance at the #1 fee. Ranking higher than the 30.
The story of Nestle begins with the birth of a boy in Frankfurt in 1814. Henry Nestle was the 11th of 14 children and was born into a family of glaziers, where the trade of cutting and fitting glass had been passed down from father to son for many generations. However, as Henry got older, he became fascinated with chemistry and decided he wanted to...
All right, what did they say? We already know, because these are the only people who really run the world are these alchemists, okay? He became fascinated with chemistry. Let's move on.
Become a pharmacist instead of going into the family trade, which caused a bit of a rift between him and his dad. But Henry was determined to follow his own path, and at 15, he began working as a pharmacist's apprentice before later leaving his hometown in Germany to go and live in Switzerland, where he worked on concocting medicines and chemical experiments. It was here in Switzerland that Henry would start one of the biggest corporations in the world. In fact, to this day, Vevey in Switzerland remains the headquarters of Nestle. But it wasn't until much later in his life that Henry started Nestle. Before his big break, Henry tried all kinds of different entrepreneurial ideas. Like, he started producing and selling liqueurs, vinegars, rum, lemonade, and even fertilizers. But none of his business ideas ever seemed to take off. It wasn't until Henry was in his 50s that he finally had his big breakthrough. It all began when Henry read a report that infant mortality had become extremely high because many women couldn't breastfeed their children, or their children were...
See, he didn't read no report. This is what they knew. Mind you, he's an alchemist, okay? Don't act like, but see that this is what he has available to him, so we just got to give him a little leeway as the narrator and stuff. But you know, they were real concerned. These Blancos were concerned because their babies were dying. They were rejecting the Blanco woman's milk. They were rejecting the Blanco woman's milk. All right, let's go on. This is about to get, we about to bring the heat. All right.
Allergic to the milk. Henry realized this massive problem was also a big opportunity. There was clearly a major need for an artificial alternative to breastfeeding that could save countless babies' lives. And thus, Henry began to study all the existing information about breast milk and conduct a series of experiments in his lab with various different ingredients. But saving children's lives wasn't the only thing that pushed Henry day and night to find a breast milk substitute. His own tragedy also played a part, as Henry's wife had had many health issues of her own, and thus was unable to give birth. So as a way to channel her...
Oh yeah, they had a lot of problems. She wasn't able to give birth and all of this different stuff. I mean, come on now. This was the problem that they always had. Remember, we always got to keep our mind centered on the fact that globally they are the minority. They have always been and always will be. Just like me and O was discussing, we always got to understand, especially something even said by the so-called Jay-Z, right? He said that men and women lie, numbers don't. So this idea of numbers plays a critical role in us assessing our history, because that is a variable we must always consider when we're evaluating history in order to come to the truth, right? Because one of the things that the Blanco has been very prolific in and very astute in is making himself seem larger than he appears to be, because he associates size and numbers with importance. Okay, so he got you thinking he's the majority. He always uses the word the majority. This is key psychological play. Because as Sun Tzu said, the acme or the height of the skill of war is to be able to subdue your enemy without ever having to fire a shot. And that means mind control. All right. But this Blanco right now at this state, we see what type of position that they're in. Right. This is the perennial stages of their attempts to rectify the wrongs at a physiological level so they can go out there and storm the world. All right. We're not going to talk about the helpers and all the other variables involved. We're just going to get into it. We're laying the groundwork right now. So walk with me. Let's go.
Maternal instincts, she became extremely concerned about other people's babies and pushed Henry to create a breast milk substitute that could save lives. And by 1867, he'd succeeded. Henry had created one of the first ever baby formulas, essentially a formulated mixture of cow's milk, flour, and...
Now remind you, they said 1867. Always remember dates. The Blancos over here in the new country or the new land at this time in 1865. He's spreading. Well, we just remind that. Keep that in mind. Now look at these ingredients: sugar, flour, cow's milk. This is the first ever baby formula. So the Blanco realized something. Hold on, because I ain't scared of you. Let me talk to y'all for a second. Hold up. See, one thing that we have to understand in the process of geoengineering, there are, we take on this interpretation that the Blanco has a history because we already know to the victors goes the spoils and stuff. But he's always given us his idea that human beings were hunters and gatherers. They had to go hunt. That's really more aligned with his energy because he has to eat blood and meat plasma. He's a meat consumer. Okay, we're more plant-based, all right? But obviously we see that a lot of our people have taken on European ways to our detriment, all right? We went over that. So the point being is that he had to follow his food. And at first what he had to find out was what animal was close to his crystal. Okay, because see, what you have is different parts of your physiological development. You need Mother Earth's help so that you can reach the highest level of illumination. You need her help, though, because we know this with a baby. A baby starts off with baby milk, obviously, as we're talking about now, and they can progress to solid foods, etc. It's the same thing as you progress and evolve to be the highest light being you can. Your main goal is to be able to receive your energy directly from your central power source you call the sun. But in between those stages of maturation, you take in different sources of energy. Okay, so the Blanco had to figure out, okay, well, in the time before I'm able to get to these people so that they can stabilize me physiologically, what mammal, because remember, we all have the same thing in common. Remember, most mammals, if not all, have what? We all have a spine in the pineal gland. And mammals are articulated as what? Mammalian. They can milk. All right, that's one of the big key, characteristics of a mammal, being able to secrete milk to feed their young. So the Blanco was in haste. Before I can get to these Negroes in mass, I have to find a source. But we know it wasn't Henry Nestle. It was people behind the scenes to help them because there were alchemists who we have to realize the good, the bad, and ugly was people from our from our persuasion that helped these Blancos get to where they needed to be. And we hear this all the time to say, oh, we taught y'all how to bathe. Why would you teach somebody who now at this state that you can see running through the earth? Why would you teach them anything? The only conclusion we can draw is that we were warm with each other through these beings. Oh, this is about to get deep. And we finna provide the evidence. But remember, like we said, it's our job to put all of this stuff together. So the point being is, like we've seen, that he had to establish what crystals was, aligned with his. Let's go revisit the image to make this powerful, right? Just to etch this in our memory. Let me show you something right quick before we go right back to this documentary. Because we're gonna keep it exactly where it's supposed to be with all of this. So give me 1 second, brothers and sisters. Oh, I got it. Where you at? Okay. Excuse me. Let me share my screen right quick. Remember, this is right here in the Encyclopedia Britannica, brothers and sisters. This is right here in the Encyclopedia Britannica. This is lactose. Lactose is a crystal. This is a lactose crystal. Remember, I told you this is what these wars are all about. They had to find out which ones, and then which one did they find? And they found the cow, right? They found the cow. All right. And this is very important. This is very important. Okay. So I'm going to switch back screens. Okay. And then, so a quick question. When you hear domestication, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? I'm looking in the chat because we're going to interact today too. When you hear domestication, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? And I'm gonna wait, obviously, because we got a small delay. But when you hear domestication, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? 999 Soul says, "Hey, Ru, have you had a chance to read Hidden Messages in Water by Dr. Masuro Emoto?" I think, is it a small book? I think I saw like he has I think it has the cover of crystals, water crystals at the front of it. I think I've skimmed through that in school, man, to be honest. TLH says Tammin. Chef said pets, farming animals specifically. Yup. Crispus Harris says programming. Says Southern Airwalk says peace, family. What's up, family? Ka says not wild. Yup. And see, what we have to understand too, remember, domestication is also another term for genetic engineering. Remember, the chicken that you see now is not the chicken. The chicken is created. The cow that you see now has been genetically engineered naturally for 10,000 years. Okay, this is like, remember we talked about the book of Genesis or the genes of Isis. Okay, remember when we was talking about separating the spots from the dark spotted ones. Remember those passages? Okay, in the book of Genesis, this is natural genetic engineering. This is called domestication. Remember, the Blanco did the same thing with the dogs. Remember, we showed you a documentary with the dogs, the Spanish war dogs, how he was breeding these dogs. You know about breeding dogs, and most of them are inbred, right? Okay, so that he can get the behavior out of the animal, because naturally, cows don't, most animals don't interact with humans, especially if you're not a true carbon being. So he had to, part of domestication is to be able to modify the behavior of the animal. Because remember, all dogs come from the wolf. You can't domesticate a wolf. You have to breed it into a behavior. Oh my goodness, man. Oh my diff. You see what I'm saying? So the cow was bred to birth forth crystals to maintain the Blanco as he could do or try to do or accomplish what he, because as he's trying to obviously blend himself in to the carbon complex, this is how he had, this is what he has to do. You see what I'm saying? Because he has to ration our energy. He can't take us in full strength, okay? So you find him being obviously parasitical in nature in many different ways, all right? So as we seen that, let's hold on, let me make sure I got this. So we see, taking a look at domestication, we have to always understand that domestication is the natural way of genetic engineering. That's what we have to understand. We always have to keep that in mind. That is very important for us to keep in mind as we look at some of these things. But let's go back to this video right quick. So we're setting the stage. We got this stuff pumping. Let's get the rocking and rolling. So let me go back. Go back.
Sugar, which could be a substitute to natural breast milk. Henry then created a company called Nestle to begin selling it. And so you see, Nestle began with such great intentions. A humble guy creating a life-saving product for babies who couldn't breastfeed naturally. Unfortunately, this isn't a heartwarming success story. If anything, this is a horror movie. You see, whilst baby food was the product that started Nestle's dominance, it was also the product that would later destroy lives and create an international scandal. And as Nestle grew into a giant conglomerate, they became shrouded in all kinds of dark controversies. But we'll get to that. Mobile games are going big.
Sorry about that. Let's go.
Henry's new baby formula was a big success. Orders were coming in so quickly that Henry had to open up a factory to keep up with the demand.
Orders were coming in so quickly he had to build a factory. But where was he getting the money from? This dude broke. Remember, he said that all his other business ventures wasn't taking off. Where the fuck this motherfucker getting his money from? Because these Blancos knew that they were in trouble. Okay? their babies were in trouble. They had to figure out how to feed these motherfuckers, right? Because they were being brought in here artificially. That's a whole nother story for other days, as they say, but let's continue to keep going. Let's go.
And he couldn't believe it. Everything was happening so fast and money was pouring in. With the huge success of this first product, Henry then partnered with a Swiss chocolatier to create another new product. And in 1875, they created the first chocolate milk.
Okay, chocolate milk. Here we go. What did we tell y'all? Didn't we do a whole thing about cocoa? Theobroma. Theobroma is the scientific term for cocoa, and theobroma means food of the gods. Theobroma means food of the gods. Remember, these are fruits, right? This is the chemicals that he started as he's going over and trading with the indigenous. These are the crystals that he's starting to modify. All right, so that he can stabilize himself. This is one thing that you have to understand. This is critical. All right. And let's continue on, though.
In the space of just a couple of years, Henry went from being a small, unknown pharmacist in Switzerland to one of the richest men in the country, and Nestle was growing more and more every month. But in a way, it was all a bit too much for Henry, who was entering the final stages of his life and wanted to relax and spend more time with his wife. And so, a few years later, Henry decided to retire and sell his company. And this is where things get really interesting. You see, the new owners who took over Nestle had big plans to expand the company, and in 1905 they merged with a rival business who sold similar products called Anglo-Swiss, and together they became known as the Nestle Group. By pooling all their resources together instead of competing, it allowed them to more easily dominate the market and expand their product lines. By the 1920s, Nestle was creating new chocolates and different beverages, and by 1938, they'd created the first mass-market coffee. Their timing was great, as instant coffee helped keep soldiers awake during the Second World War, and thus it became included in all emergency rations of every US soldier. As well as creating new products, the Nestle Group quite often just acquired other companies they saw potential in, or that they thought could be serious competition. And so, as the years went by, Nestle's list of products grew and grew, and so did their wealth and power. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough for them.
So let's fast forward a little bit to the 8-minute mark, because this is when you see the Blanco try to take his science or his fake crystals over into our territories. All right, and was obviously successful in doing so. But of course, we know that he's cornered the market now on his science. So but this is in the perennial stages before he was before he went out doing what he was doing. We always have to understand, in the process of this Blanco going about warmongering, his chief responsibility is to condition other people to think like him. That's one thing you have to understand in this invasion. All right, because we about to get into it. Oh, don't think I forgot about the title now, because you're going to think about what does this have to do with an invasion? Oh, we about to cook. All right, let's get it.
Nurses and convinced mothers to give up breastfeeding and use their formula instead. These saleswomen were paid on commission, meaning the more formula they sold, the more money they made, thus encouraging them to sell the formula very aggressively, which they did. These saleswomen, posing as genuine nurses, would walk the halls of maternity wards or even visit mothers at their homes unannounced and sell them on Nestle.
Because that's the Blanco nature. See, you don't know who you're dealing with. This motherfucker run around posing as nurses. See, the thing is that, we always think that their institutions arise out of some philanthropic need, some philanthropic energy. They want to help humanity. Nothing could be further from the fucking truth. So you talk about, like Bobby Hemmett expressed, he said, man, you know how they got niggas, they got us sitting up here waiting for a doomsday. Doomsday been started. You ain't gonna know that till your ass is dead. They're not waiting to kill you, they are killing you. Let's go, man.
Nestle's baby formula, and it gets much worse. Nestle got these fake nurses to hand out free samples of their formula to mothers. Except they gave them just enough samples that by the time the samples ran out, the mothers would have stopped producing milk naturally and thus had no choice but to pay for Nestle's expensive product to keep their child alive. This proved to be very successful and profitable for Nestle, and so they expanded this plan to many other locations, but especially developing nations, where many of the women weren't educated enough to know the information they were being fed was.
Now, once again, look at this Blanco too. Maybe he doing it, he don't know what he doing, but he's saying developing nations. How are they developing nations when your ass couldn't even keep your babies alive? You literally were a developing nation. You literally were a developing nation. You weren't but this is to hide this idea, because remember, like he said, oh, Nestle started off as a good idea. No, it didn't. It started off as to survive. You motherfuckers was desperate. Had nothing to do with going out like to go help people. How in the fuck? Remember, their numbers again. You have very low numbers. How you talk about us having a population problem to begin with. So how in the fuck do we now need your help in your whack ass science? How did your science help Mother Nature? Okay, it didn't. All right. So, like I said, I paused it at the right time. The information wasn't true because we know what this Blanco talking about. But let's continue right quick. But I think we may be able to wrap this up because I think it covered a lot of the key points. But let's see also what he heals on.
After all, if a woman who appears to be a qualified nurse is telling you that your baby needs this product, you're just gonna believe them. Of course, the consequences were fatal. It's estimated millions of babies died or were made severely deficient in essential nutrients because of this. The worst impact was in third world countries where there was no access to clean water. The big problem was that the baby formula had to be mixed with water, and yet Nestle was convincing people they needed to use this baby formula in places where clean water was in very short supply. So the formula was getting mixed with water that was polluted and contaminated, thus making the babies ill.
I doubt all of that.
Need to do before
Hold
you
on,
buy
let me.
anything online.
All right, so hold on.
How do celebrities?
Let's close this out. All these fucking ads is just fucking ridiculous. All right, hold on 1 second. So now we see, remember we told you that lactose is a crystal. We know that lactose, one of the rationalizations for lactose, if you recall, if you know, a lot of people, it's not, a lot of people know, and this is not common knowledge, but a lot of people have heard about IGF, insulin growth factor. Okay. They were saying that was part of the crystal in the lactose that was very similar to, a woman's breast milk. But that's crazy because we know that's a hormone. Mind you, hormones are chemical messengers. It tells the bodies what to do, the rate at which they would grow, etc., and all of that different stuff. So the thing is, what we got to understand is how in the hell could this Blanco tell us that this hormone was similar to a woman's milk, breast milk, when this hormone is designed to have a calf damn near walk as soon as it come out of cow's womb? That's how powerful them hormones is. To have that calf damn near walk as soon as it come out the damn womb. Okay, so but he knew that these crystals would, obviously create conflict and morbidity within our race. He knew that. Okay, this is why the end result is millions of babies died. You can't sit up here and say in one notion, oh, they had, these thoughts to help out humanity, when the reality of it is they knew the science. Remember, we're dealing with alchemists here. Henry Nestle was a chemist. They're not idiots, brothers and sisters. They're not idiots. All right. They know just enough to go to war with you, and they feel like they know just enough to succeed. But we'll get into this. So what is the point of all of this? Why is it so important? OK, because like we said, we love our Einstein-Rosen bridge, or what we call wormholes connecting two distant points. We're going to do this with these two concepts because I'm actually going to read an article now. You're going to think probably is left, but you're going to realize why this is important. OK, so we're going to read an article. Let me bring this up right quick. Bring this up right quick. 1 second. All right, let me share my screen, brothers and sisters. All right, this article is called Explain That Stuff. It's called Piezoelectricity by Chris Woodford, last updated May 21st, 2022. Okay. It says you've probably used piezoelectricity, pronounced piezoelectricity, quite a few times today. If you've got a quartz watch, piezoelectricity is what helps it keep regular time. If you've been writing a letter, now mind you, this concept of regular to keeping time. If you've been writing a letter or an essay on your computer with the help of a voice recognition software, the microphone you spoke into probably uses piezoelectricity to turn the sound energy in your voice into electrical signals your computer could interpret. If you're a bit of an audiophile and like listening to music on your vinyl, your gramophone, you would have been using piezoelectricity to read the sounds from your LP records. Piezoelectricity, literally pressing electricity, is much simpler than it sounds. It just means using crystals to convert mechanical energy into electricity, or vice versa. Oh, I'm about to cook on you. See, y'all about to learn something today. You about to know that this Blanco knew about crystals a long fucking time and only do one or two things to advance himself. Either it has to work for him and work against the people who he is in conflict with, or he doesn't use it at all, or he destroys it. Okay? So why are we talking about piezoelectricity? All right, let's go to this article. Give me 1 second, brothers and sisters. It's not the one. All right, PubMed. Okay, obviously we know this is a National Library of Medicine. I only bring y'all the most credible sources. All right, so like I said before, man, me and O was discussing this earlier today too. It's like we got to make sure that those who give us information also give us resources. That's why you don't really see too many individuals coming for me at the FOS God, because they got to get this work. They got to get this work, man. All right. So let's see, calcite microcrystals in the pineal gland of the human brain. First physical and chemical studies, all right? This is, when was this published? Because I believe this was published in 2002. All right, yeah, copyright 2002, all right? It says, a new form of biomineralization has been studied in the pineal gland of the human brain. It consists of small crystals that are less than 20 micron in length and that are completely distinct from the often observed mulberry type hydroxyapatite concretions, okay? A special procedure was developed for isolation of the crystals from the organic matter in the pineal gland. Cubic, hexagonal, and cylindrical morphologies have been identified using scanning electron microscopy, all right? So we already told you what that was in previous segments, all right? We ain't got a lot of time to go over some of these concepts, but we will clear this up without a shadow of a doubt because we won't leave confused. That's what we do, right? The crystal edges were sharp, whereas the surfaces were very rough. Energy dispersive spectroscopy, I'm sorry about that, spectroscopy showed that the crystals contained only the elements calcium, carbon, and oxygen. Selected area electron diffraction and near infrared Raman that shit gets me fucked up with my, because the way it's said. Spectroscopy, I'm sorry, established that the crystals were calcite. Calcite is nothing but calcium and carbon combined, brothers and sisters. So let's get over that. With the exception of the otoconia structure of the inner ear. This is the only known non-pathological occurrence of calcite in the human body. So basically, when you get calcium buildup, you start to get these crystals building up in your body. They encourage pathologies, but obviously when we're dealing with the pineal gland, it can use it to a large degree, right? But that's why they got to give you the wrong type of calcium. And in order to get your calcium, what do these blancos try to get our children and us to drink? They want us to drink their milk. Okay, they want us to drink their milk. This is why this is extremely important. Oh my goodness. All right. The complex texture structure of the microcrystals may lead to crystallographic symmetry, breaking and possible piezoelectricity. Okay, so this is this back and forth between electricity being converted to sound and sound being converted to electrical signals. This is one of the reasons why you can hear in your dreams. Okay, because we know the pineal gland is crucial and it plays a crucial role in your circadian rhythm. All right, we know that when no light hits the eye, there's a signal being sent down the retinal hypothalamus tract, and then melatonin is secreted, and it's time for you to go to sleep. And this super powerful hormone, like we said, does many things. It's one of the most powerful antioxidants known to man, but it also acts on your gonads or your sexual organs, the ovaries if you're a female, but the testes if you're a male. Let's continue now. So since we know this, we now see. I'm sorry about that. I had to get through that spectroscopy. Shit, I should have rehearsed that motherfucking word. That shit had me tongue-tied for a minute. Not too often that the Blanco's able to do that, but he was successful in that regard. Now, but the point being is that what we see is that now he knows, because remind you, these are beings who have a spine, all right, who are capable of kundalini energy, which is mammals, right? All right. They know that the most powerful gland that we have is the pineal gland. All right. They often talked about it being the seat of the soul, because like we said before, we have to know that these blancos are not ignorant of what they're doing. And they know for a fact that, this is the most powerful organ that we have that helps us to bridge the natural and the supernatural. OK, this is very, very important. So what's the point of all of this? Like we said, so let's take a look at the method. Once he discovered this, what he had to do in terraforming. Okay, let me take a look at this chat right quick. Hold on 1 second. So we got Riz in the building too. He said we are prisoners of war and under war in all ways. That man, come on, let's go. You already know what that is. All right. Sako said FOF, I'm late. Glad to be connected. Couldn't miss that. I know. Oh yeah, we about to get into it. All right, so we're gonna take a look at an article right quick to show you that when the Blanco came here, mind you, when he comes here, he came to war. He understood now what his objective was. He had this alchemical history or this codex, right, that he given to him by our people. And then mind you what we said before, one of the motifs of myths and what we see recurring time in and time out is that when gods create beings, even if we're not saying that you're the god, but you participate in the creation process. You are displaying your godlike energy, and we know this is the case because they said that we were created in the image of God, so this should be no surprise. But one thing that has been the motif for long standing, right, or should be well pronounced, is that a lot of these creations begin to go wayward, get out of control. This is called that Frankenstein complex, right? That Frankenstein effect, where you create these monsters, and then all of a sudden your creation becomes stronger than you and tries to get rid of you. So this is what the elite from our class is dealing with right now at this point in time. Use this weapon, use the Blanco as a weapon to wage war against other tribes, and it obviously got out of control. And we're going to prove this without a shadow of a doubt. But the point being is that, when they came here, their task was one thing: to war with this part of Mother Earth and to get the resources necessary in order to build the biggest war machine for the final war. That's why I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, you got to understand, this is what they've been doing unapologetically for centuries, right? Right now, we're just, we're just a snapshot of history. We ain't got to go back thousands of years where it's muddied and all of that. We can go back from what we can say. We have documents to go look at, to read, and to garner that information, to get to draw a conclusion from that. So right now, what I'm finna do is I'm finna show you an article right quick. I'm finna show you an article to show you what he did when he first had to get here, when he got here. All right. Because mind you, like you said, now he understands that he's in India. Remember, the East India Company is it was started under Queen Elizabeth I, right? It was one of the biggest, it's noted as being the first big multinational corporation, but they over there in India, they control most of India at this time. They got these Indians building these ships. All right, our brothers and sisters building them these ships so they could transport these animals that they just genetically modified. Okay? Remember, this is where the term cowboy comes from. We can argue all day about who was the first black cowboys and all that different shit. I tell niggas, get away from the petty ass arguments, because our cow was the bison or the American buffalo. Remember, they supposedly come from the same ancestor. Different crystals. We finna see, man, I'm about to blow the doors down in this bitch, all right? Because we have to understand our people have we all have spiritual animals that we connected to, but this is no surprise because you know about the zodiac. See, when this Blanco came, he came and not only brought himself, but he brought all his crystals that he had genetically modified with him. Okay, so he's shipping the cow. Remember we told you about the Spanish war dog. He spent thousands of years genetically modifying the wolf. And he came over here with them damn bull mastiffs and all of them dogs and attacked you with them. Okay, so this is not a far-fetched or far-flung idea. So, like we said, so when he comes over, he knows that his first priority is to get rid of your, spiritual animal that you had a spiritual connection with. Okay, so we're gonna go off into this article. It's the Atlantic. All right, so let me share my screen and let's get into it. All right, the Atlantic. Kill every buffalo you can. Every buffalo dead is an Indian gone. The American bison is the new U.S. national mammal, but its slaughter was once seen as a way to starve Native Americans into submission. By J. Weston Phippen. Now, remind you, look at this Blanco in his, this is going to recur in this entire segment. He makes it the national mammal after he decimated it. As you can see, look at this bison. Notice why it's your spiritual animal. Look at, and we're gonna go off into this. Look at the woolly hair. Oh wait. Oh, let's stop because I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm about to snap off. But let's go. All right. It was near the end of September, an unusually warm week in 1871, and William Buffalo Bill Cody. Some of you probably already heard this name before, Buffalo Bill. Sounds like an NFL team I know, but we'll continue. We'll get into that. Buffalo Bill Cody and a group of wealthy New Yorkers stood atop a grassy hill near the Platte River in Nebraska, where 2 miles off they spotted 6 huge brown beasts. Okay, Cody was a legend of the frontier era, part myth, conjured in dime novels. The men from New York had expected to find him as a desperado of the West, bristling with knives and pistols, but they did not. Which is really always, these Blancos, that's what they do through myth. Like, they do this with a lot of their characters, made them bigger than life. All right, but let's go on. Cody was loquacious and friendly, an expert hunter. He knew that with the wind blowing from behind, the men risked their scent being carried to the animals and scaring them away. Then again, a buffalo is a lumbering, astute cow, and the men were outfitted with some of the quickest horses and held the best guns owned by the United States Army. So remember, the original cowboy came from them killing off our cow, called the American bison or the American buffalo. But remember, the difference between a bison and a buffalo is a bison has humps. Buffaloes do not. Okay, but they come from the same, they share a common ancestor. All right, but let's go on. It says, and the men were outfitted with one of the quickest horses and held the best guns owned by the United States Army, which was outfitting the hunting expedition. The Army wasn't in the business of guiding hunting trips for soft-skinned Wall Streeters, but it was in the business of controlling the Native Americans in the area, and that meant killing buffalo. One colonel 4 years earlier had told a wealthy hunter who felt a shiver of guilt after he shot 30 bulls in one trip, quote unquote, kill every buffalo you can. Every buffalo dead is an Indian gone, end quote. Oh, this is about to get deep. Let's continue. All right. So we're going to go to another article, right? Just to get off on this because they wanted you to, in order, obviously, for me to read the entire article, subscribe. We're not going to do that because a lot of this is general information. Even though we know about Wikipedia, you know me, I've double checked these sources. A lot of these estimates are the same. So don't really too much worry about that. We're going to go off into it. So this is the American bison. Let's show you a picture up close about the American bison because you got the American bison and you got the wood bison. The wood bison is a little bigger. This is the plains bison. All right. But look at the snappy hair. Okay. You see the cow type of resemblance. Okay. But you see the woolly hair right here. Okay. This was our spiritual animal. This shit is deep, y'all. Okay. This is our spiritual animal that they had to get rid of, our connection to Mother Earth, because they tell you about animals. We know this about dogs and cats now. If there's any type of rumblings in Earth, like earthquakes, tornadoes, or things to come, any scientist would tell you to go watch the animals and their behavior. Okay, these animals were a direct line of connection between us and Mother Earth, especially in times if there were any type of calamity. And we're going to show you why that's so important. Okay, these were your spiritual animals that connected you to Mother Earth. All right. So let's go down to what I really want to read. Okay, it says the American bison, also called the American buffalo or simply buffalo, not to be confused with true buffalo, right? Because we know buffaloes and bison are different, is a species of bison native to North America. It is one of the two extant, extant, extant is just the opposite of extinct. Extant just means living species. So extant means living species of bison. Alongside the European bison. The historical range by 9000 BCE is described as the Great Bison Belt, a tract of rich grassland that ran from Alaska to the Gulf of Mexico, east to the Atlantic seaboard, nearly to the Atlantic tidewater in some areas, as far north as New York, south to Georgia, and according to some sources, further south to Florida, with sightings in North Carolina near Buffalo Ford on the Catawba River as late as 1750. All right? So let's go down and read the most. We're going to get to the meat of this. Hold on 1 second, you guys. Let me find it. Okay, this is the most important part. Okay, once roaming in vast herds, the species nearly became extinct by a combination of commercial hunting and slaughter in the 19th century and introduction of bovine diseases from domestic cattle. All right, because when they brought their domestic cattle, when they brought their genetically modified cattle, they brought diseases to ours. Ain't that deep? Okay, with an estimated population of 60 million in the late 18th century. Okay, we know the 18th century is the 1700s. And they said the late 18th century. So that means the late 1700s. But we're going to do some math right quick. So I'm going to tell you how profound this is, because it's going to dramatically impact, or should indelibly impact, the image of the Blanco. But some of you, like we said, some of these individuals watching, they got the God complex with the Blanco. So it may not even scrape or damage or even blemish the Blanco's exterior. But right now, we're going to make sure we damn sure try to, because we got to get you to see this motherfucking machine in a different light. Okay, they are a killing machine. All right, the species was culled down to just 541 animals by 1889. They went from 60 million to 541 by 1889. Hold on, let me talk to you right quick. So I was a little bit more generous. What I did was, I didn't do late 18th century. I gave the Blanco 1700, the start of the 18th century. And I did the math, right? At 60 million, right? If the Blanco started killing literally at the year 1700, he would have had to kill 317,460 bison every day. He would have had to kill 317,460 bison every day. Now, remind you, he's always at war. He's at war. He's cutting down your trees. He's killing 307. Remember, I told you about the birds that we hear. The dove and the pigeons and all that. Look, he was killing them by the millions. Okay, so he's coming here eradicating all your spiritual animals. Okay. But he's not the one who's the architect of the design, because remember, keep in mind, his numbers are not great. So who's weaponizing this Blanco? This man, I'm make a part 2 to this, because I can't tell y'all all the first, can't give it all away, right? But we're going to have some pretty powerful information in this, right? So the reality of it is, he comes here, we see what's going on. He's killing in mass. He's always at war, right? This is a war machine that is being pushed upon the people. All right. But this is also an effort to also, in order to get him, so he can acquiesce more power, he has to geoengineer the land around him. And I'm going to show you why it was so important for him to get here, because we went over some of this information, but we're going to get hit home. You're going to receive a key point from all of this before this segment is done and over with. All right. And I'm going to show you, let's also speak to how powerful and profound this is, because it speaks to the image of the Blanco and how he and she knows what they're doing. Right. And how insidious and dark this is. Right. Let's show you an article right quick, because keep in mind, remember, we talked about Buffalo Bill Cody and all of that different shit. Right. Hold that thought. Let's go on the sidebar right quick. I'm going to share my screen. Why are the Buffalo Bills called the Bills? Buffalo Bills fans know and love their mascot, Billy Buffalo, an 8-foot-tall anthropomorphic blue bison. Some fans may recall the cheerleading squad called the Buffalo Jills, which supported the team from 1967 to 2013. But many don't know the actual origin story of the beloved team's name. You better believe these Blancos do. You better believe they do. Stop. We ain't gonna let them tell that lie. But let's go on. The NFL's current Buffalo Bills franchise, one of the blah blah blah, to play under this name. Let's get to the meat of this. This team went by the name Buffalo Bisons. Okay, because that's what they came for the first year of its existence in 1946. However, 3 teams were already called the Bisons in Buffalo. All right. And it goes on to say, according to the team's official website, the winner was James F. Dyson, who submitted an essay comparing the team to a band of Buffalo Bills. Dyson won $500 for his contribution to football history. The All-American Football Conference ceased to exist after its 4th season in 1949. Only 3 teams made the jump to the National Football League, and the original Bills were not one of them. 11 years later, Buffalo received a team, the New American Football League. The owner of that new franchise, Ralph C. Wilson, received the Bills name, which stands to this day. Now, the original Buffalo Bill. In his essay, Dyson was, of course, referring to Buffalo Bill Cody, a complicated figure in American history. It ain't complicated, bitch. We know the legend of Buffalo Bill and why they came here. We just showed you they eliminated. And mind you, this speaks to, let me go back to you. This speaks to the insidious nature of their machine. We know ain't all Blancos like this. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the machine that they created, which is operating on nuclear power right now. Okay, you see what they remember? We told you more than half the states still have their Indian names. Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Oklahoma, Alabama. We can go on, right? They still have their Indian names because he wants to show you his power that he has over you. This motherfucker remember we talked about these teams, even their college teams, right? We talked about even Oklahoma Sooners, right? In these names, we went over this, how this is a part of his rituals. And yet we participate and make his ritual. This is how he gets so much power from this shit. And yet if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, you are sitting up there celebrating the death of your spiritual animal. And this Blanco know it. That's why I had to go through changing some names. Let's continue. Let's beat the man. Come on, man. I'm finna bring you some heat. Let's continue to keep going on this. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to show you that these Blancos know, because my job is to show you that you got to understand who you're dealing with. Because remember we talked about the hows, how they kill us and all this different shit we all agree upon. But the why, niggas will argue a hole in your head all day about the why. Oh, no, it's about the money, bro. They do this because it is. They do. No, they do it because this is extermination. You have been invaded and you don't even realize it. All right. Let's see this article about the Kansas City Chiefs name controversy. Okay, let's just read through this right quick. I'm going to share my screen. All right. We know how this name, the Kansas City Chiefs, that, you have so-called Indians have been tripping about this name and trying to get them to get it changed, because we know the Washington Redskins changed their name. We know that the Cleveland Indians baseball team changed their names. And we're going to get off into that. So always commit that to memory while I said that too as well, while I brought that up. Okay, it says the emergence of the controversy. All right, it says American Indian groups here have called on sports teams, including the Chiefs, to change nicknames and mascots for many decades. The National Coalition on Racism in Sports and Media organized in 1991 following calls from indigenous communities to end these practices. Okay, now let's continue on. It said many did not take notice of these requests on the issue until much later. Following the appearance in the Kansas City Star of photographs of fans attending an October 2013 game wearing feathers and war paint and doing the tomahawk chop, numerous Native Americans submitted complaints to the publication. One caller, who was especially upset that the photographs were published on Columbus Day, described the images as a mockery and racist. Writing for the Star's public editor column, Derek Donovan explained that he found the complaints reasonable and suggested that the newspaper depict other colorful, interesting people in the crowds. The Kansas City Indian Center officially became involved in calling for change after a local restaurant in December 2013 had a sign widely condemned as racist that read, and I quote, "Kansas City Chiefs will scalp the Redskins, feed them whiskey, send to reservation." The Kansas City Indian Center sent representatives and the restaurant owners to explain why the sign was unacceptable. Pause. Let's build on this right quick. Ain't no amount of education gonna stop the expansion. Ain't no amount of education gonna stop these Blancos because they're only looking for justification. Because remind you, like they said, they always try to act like they don't know why they doing some shit. Every February that comes around, black people be complaining, oh, yeah, there's some white people wearing blackface. Oh, did you see what a white person said? Did you see this and that and the other? And then what these crackers say? Get over it. Matter of fact, I think, let's read that right quick. Let's read that. Let's continue. Hold on 1 second. Let's finish. It said, let's talk about, it said, the Star reported in August 2014 that the team's management was planning discussions with some Native American groups to find a non-confrontational way to eliminate or at least reduce offensive behavior. All right. Amanda Blackhorse, the lead plaintiff in the trademark case against the Washington Redskins, said the real solution in a name change for the Chiefs. Blackhorse attended a protest at a game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Washington Redskins at Arrowhead Stadium while she was a student at the University of Kansas. Reporting, quote unquote, people yelled, "Go back to your reservation. We won, you lost. Get over it," end quote. Go get drunk. That's what these crackers told these Indians. We won, get over it. That's what I'm trying to let you know. You act like they don't know. We won. Get over it. Yeah, we named our football team Redskins, Chiefs, all this different shit, because we're showing you that when we came here, what we saw, we conquered. This is the nature of the European. We came, we saw, we conquered. Come get it how you live. Come take it from me, nigga. Because see, you notice when you ignorant, a Blanco give you a million reasons as to why it's shit the way it is. Oh, black on black crime. Oh, welfare, blah, blah, blah. But then when you start giving them stats, figures, all this different shit, what the Blanco do? After a while, he say, fuck you, nigga, come take it. Because that's what it is. He lull you to sleep because he know most of the time he dealing with people who are not educated. But he's letting you know, he telling these bitches, yeah, we did this. We did this, and what the fuck you gonna do about it? You see what I'm saying? Because I'm finna change this idea, because remember, the most popular narrative that we have is slavery. And the reason why slavery is so popular, because black people need slavery. Just walk with me on this concept. You know why black people need slavery, the concept of slavery? Because it gives us this idea that the Blanco, some ways in some way humane. And I know that's irony at its highest, because slavery was an inhumane institution, right? But the fact of the matter is, it gives us this idea that because we worked around the Blanco, we worked with the Blanco, that somehow this Blanco has, could be human in a certain respect. And you've seen them being able to use the psychology in Florida. Remember, you hear DeSantis sitting up there trying to change up the idea of slavery that, they learned trades. They learned how to work, all this different shit. Remember, slavery wasn't as bad. Remember, this is why slavery is such a powerful psychological hold on America, because it gives the Blanco and black people this idea that the Blanco is a civil human being, that he could be negotiated with. You can compromise with him. Nothing could be further from the fucking truth. Okay? So he needed that. You see what I'm saying? So one of the things that we have to do is that when you change up the narrative, you see that if you position him as a warmonger, like soon as he came in, he just start killing. He chopping down all your trees. He killing all of the bison. He warring with the indigenous. He unleashing dogs that he spent breeding. He's unleashing his other biological weapons with his bovines and stuff, giving our cows, our spiritual animals diseases, ravishing us. There was no slavery, just war. Because remember, at the perennial stages of colonial development, everybody's here. The British are here. The French are here. The Spanish are here. The Portuguese are here. The English are here. You had no America. Remember, we told you that the 20th century or the 1900s is what they characterize and articulate as the age of naturalization, when they tried to they convinced Blancos to get rid of their ethnic identity and just commit to the idea of being white. And I told you that an excellent movie to check out that accentuates that is the movie Gangs of New York with Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay? So we know about this Blanco. He didn't have no solidarity. So get it out your head again that this Blancos work together. No, they don't. They work well enough together to fuck your ass up. Then it's back to being as chaotic as they ever could be, because it is in their nature. All right? So what we have to understand is that knowing this, like we said, the good, the bad, and ugly, why they came here, and then how they devastated, because this leads to one of the biggest arguments too as well that you see as of recently. Now I'm gonna show you. Now this is why I said this is gonna be so fucking profound. All right, and to show you how a lot of us has got caught up. That's why one of the reasons you got to be careful of what you hear, what you take in terms of, dealing with this Blanco and his news, because after a while you find yourself getting caught up. You saying the same thing that the Blanco's saying, and be like, God damn, I gotta catch myself. Because this shit is deep. I gotta catch myself, because I'll end up thinking like him, and we'll end up in the same. I'll find out that I got both feet in the artificial matrix. It's already bad enough one of us got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. All right, so y'all finna see me watch again, connect two other concepts that you see is not related to one another. But I want to ask you guys now, what you've been hearing. We've been hearing this term invasion, specifically with the Mexicans. All right, we've been hearing this term invasion specifically with Mexicans, and I want to ask you guys, from what you've been hearing in the media, what do you think? Because we don't do surface level shit, but we're gonna use the surface level shit to dig into something deeper, all right? But what do you guys feel about it when you hear about people talking about the invasion and the migrant crisis and all of this different shit? What do you guys think about that? I'm finna wait. I got obviously we got a delay, but I want to hear what you guys think right quick. I'm going back to the chat. So I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting. Yeah, Avery said discernment is key to our survival. You damn sure it is. Damn sure it is. It really is key to our survival. Kai said that's the real alien invasion. Listen, we about to get into it, but yeah. Hold that thought too, Kai. Because notice how they use the same language. Remember, the Blanco's classical at projection. It's one thing. That's one of his, that's one of their greatest weapons. All right. So I'm waiting to see what you guys, feel about this, what they talk about this migrant invasion and stuff like that. I'm just waiting a second just to get a couple comments and stuff. But we're going to go into it. Fishbone says for the election, let's see. All right. Says I remember when we touched months ago on that Mexicans, but also military age Asian males. Increase of hold on, let me say get past this. For some odd reason, it's not. Because I want to read the comment by TLH. But this emoji is blocking it. This shit is crazy. Gotta wait till another comment pop up. All right, because this is real key, you guys. This is real key. Because I'm finna ask you guys a question after this too as well. I'm finna ask you guys a question. Because I seen a lot of people, I seen a lot of YouTubers, they echoing the same sentiments as this Blanco. Oh, we being invaded, the Mexicans and blah, blah, blah. Now mind you, remember we said it's important to know the whole story. It's not about us being in our feelings or anything like that. Our job is to be able to make decisions. In order for us to make the right decisions, we have to have all the information available to us. Okay, so TLA says, I remember when we touched months ago that it is just not the Mexicans, but also military age Asian men. I will say I've noticed an increase of Hispanics in my area too as well. But remember, this is the thing. This has always been the nature of the United States. Remember in 1883, they had the Chinese Exclusion Act. There always been Asians coming here, right? But they put a quota on how many Asians, or especially specifically Chinese men, could come here. Right? And remember, it wasn't until 1965 in the Civil Rights Act where it took the quota off the Chinese being able to come here, and then they were able to come here en masse. So this has always been a nation where people have just came here, right? And so we can't lose ourselves in that, because that has been the story of the Blanco, him coming here too as well, right? We all, it says, what up, big bro? Hey, Rude, Sam G, what up with it, fam? You say, think about stuff. So let's say this. Okay, so the point being is this. All right, has anybody ever thought? Now think about this. Now think about this critically. And it may seem something, it may sound so simple, but you live in the United States. Have you ever wondered why there is a state called New Mexico in the United States? Have you ever wondered? Have you ever just thought that, like, okay, why is there a state called New Mexico? What is New Mexico doing in, why isn't it, where's the old Mexico? Where is this? What's this New Mexico about? Because we know the Blanco, when he conquers something, he keeps the name. It's like trophy shit. Just like when he kills something, he keeps the head on his wall. This is the nature of a killer. They keep their kill. Y'all about to get it, man. Y'all about to get it. Hold on. Thanks for the Cash App, Richard Burden. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Shouts out to you, brother. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Okay. Now, this is what you got to understand. This is what you got to understand. Hold on one second. Okay. Hold on one second. Because we finna show you. We finna show you something. Let me prime this article. Let me prime this article. Okay. Because this is important stuff. And this is Black history all the way around. And y'all got to understand this. So like we said, our job is to have a healthy perspective. If you keep the same outlook on these people, then by all means, go ahead. But at least you're going to know the whole story. You know what I'm saying? You're going to know the whole story. All right. So let's get into this right quick, because this is a very important article. Very, very important article. All right. Hold on. Where did it go? Where did it go? That's the Ring of Fire article. Oh, okay. Yeah, I had it right here. I was just looking for an image. Kind of forgot. Okay. Very important article, because I'm finna show you simultaneously. I'm gonna be hitting on both topics and stuff, because mind you, we already explained to you the symbolism, right? We showed you, if you've seen the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? Kansas City Chiefs played the 49ers. This was all a ritual. We know this, but I'm gonna give you, like we said, we're gonna give both, and we're gonna, chop up a couple different concepts at the same time. And I know you guys had the analytical skills and the intelligence to be able to accomplish this alongside with me. All right. So we talked about the Kansas City Chiefs. We know why they made, all these teams. We talked about how they changed the name of the Washington Redskins to the Washington Commanders. They changed the name of the Cleveland Indians to the Cleveland, what's the name of it? The Cleveland Guardians. So think about how deep that is. You change the name of Indians and Redskins to Guardians and Commanders. You change the name because they're showing you what the war was. Oh yeah, we'll change the name. Now we're gonna change the name and show you what our energy is. Yeah, because remember what they had, the Cleveland Indians and all that different shit. They had this, exaggerated image of an Indian, and it was dark brown. He wasn't no light-skinned $5 Indian, right? Let's just call it what it is. It wasn't the $5 Indians and shit. It was the real motherfuckers and shit. We're gonna show you why this is so profound. But then that's when he exaggerated. Even when you get to the Florida Seminoles and all of that different shit, and like we said, with the Washington Redskins, when they changed their name, they became the Washington Commanders. Okay, so this is the point that we're telling you. They always were aware of this sort of thing. Never let them, get you to believe anything else other than that. All right, hold on. Let me see. I think I got the article right here. So when you take a look at the 49ers were who? Man, we talk just kind of like the shades of the Oklahoma Sooners. The 49ers were the people who came to California in 1849, right? For the gold rush. All right, they came, but we're going to show you why they really came, right? We went over this a little bit. We're going to show you the real reason why they came. So they came for the gold, supposedly, right? By 18, these people were called the 49ers. Now, in this block, I'm saying hundreds of thousands of people rushed over to California, right? For the gold rush. And we have to understand before we set this framework up that, remind you, California at this time is owned by Mexico. California and Texas are owned by Mexico. Let's go further. California, Texas, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, Utah are all owned by Mexico. Let's get into this. The California Gold Rush. The California Gold Rush was the mass migration of Americans and others to California in search of gold, which was discovered in Sutter's Mill in 1848. It led to California's statehood and is one of the most important events tied to America's manifest destiny. And it shaped the United States. Because these Blancos know their agenda. This is President James Polk. Let's read about this. Let's go ham, man. Let's get through this article right quick. What was the California Gold Rush? A summary of the event that transformed the nation. The California Gold Rush, a pivotal event in American history, started on January 24th, 1848, when James W. Marshall stumbled upon gold nuggets while working at Sutter's Mill in the Sacramento Valley. At the time the Marshall found the gold, the population of California was about 1,000 people. Okay, watch how slick they is. Not including the Native American Indians, because remember, the Blanco don't count you. So this Blanco, look how, once again, his arrogance. He's saying California, this big ass state, population is 1,000 people. I'm ignoring these niggas. I don't see them. I know they dark and comely as Solomon said he was, but I don't see these bitches. It's just 1,000 of us, right? By the end of 1849, California's population skyrocketed to an estimated 100,000 people. By 1854, roughly 300,000 people had moved to California, helping fulfill manifest destiny through westward expansion. Okay? Let's go on. All right. The discovery came just 10 days after the United States officially acquired California in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which formally ended the Mexican-American War. Now, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo gave Mexico ceded through a contract because they thought these Blancos, once again, I don't know why we think these Blancos is going to be nice to us, but they gave the United States California, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Nevada, and Utah. It was the biggest land acquisition since the Louisiana Purchase. Because remember, Napoleon in 1803 gave the United States Louisiana, which was a territory which included 14 states. Then a little bit later, they go westward. They coming through the mountains. These motherfuckers coming, they ravaging, they killing your buffalo at the same time. Remind you as they moving, they killing. Because the Blanco can't stop killing. You think he got this peaceful migration. En route as he's going, he's killing as he's moving. You got to, I am reframing this. This Blanco is a killing machine. See, when you substitute the slavery narrative for the killing machine narrative, you understand exactly what position you finding yourself in. And y'all about to die before you get it. Oh, Kahi, that manifest destiny thing. Nick, look, it gets even deeper than that. Because remember, it's about to show you. Let's go. News of the discovery spread quickly, triggering a massive influx of prospectors in the summer of 1848. The first gold seekers came from various places, including Oregon, Hawaii, Mexico, Chile, Peru, and China. Once again, I'm telling you, they always been on this shit. When they found out about the special tribes, crystals, and our spiritual animals and stuff, we were invaded by everybody. We were invaded by everybody. Remind you, brothers and sisters, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about was native to this land. Every land, according to its mountains, secrete different crystals. This is why you have different crystals or different carbon organisms that are native to a specific land. Okay? From there, the news spread eastward across the Great Plains, the Midwest, the Southeast, and the East Coast. You know how fast these niggas came. Remind you, people, let's not have an anachronistic mindset. This is before the web. This is before mail. Okay, this is before the U.S. Post Office. Motherfuckers, they were so hungry to come to the chosen people. That's how fast this shit spread. That's how desperate everybody else was to come to the chosen people. I'm giving you facts right now in this bitch, all right? So in December 1848, President James K. Polk officially announced gold had been discovered in California, quote unquote, the Golden State. Soon after, Americans living on the East Coast started moving west in search of their fortunes. They loaded their wagons and crossed the Oregon Trail, California Trail, and others as they made their way to California. These people became known as the 49ers. Well, I'm tripping though, because this 1848, according to the Blanco, slavery the biggest thing popping. So, but motherfuckers, is this broke? Everybody leaving all of their belongings, going over to California to get gold? I digress. A story for other days. But let's say because, you know, this Blanco got a whole lot of narratives and shit, right? So he says, let's see. Let's go down. Let's get to the meat of this, though. Okay. Let's get to the meat of this. All right. Let's hold on. Let me see. Oh, excuse me, brothers and sisters. All right. All right. So, news of the gold discovery spread worldwide, attracting people from places accessible by boat such as Oregon, Hawaii, Mexico, Chile, Peru, and China. I know I've read that, but I missed the point. Remember it said, remember, this is a fork-tongued person we talking about. So remember, even when the Blanco is telling you the truth, he's not going to give you the whole and complete truth. Look at what he said, because we always got to keep the dates in mind. He said, news of the gold discovery spread worldwide, attracting people from places accessible by boat such as Oregon, Hawaii, Mexico. Mexico owned California. How are you getting people from Mexico? California didn't become a state till 1850. The gold rush is 1849, bitch. How are you attracting people from a place they already in? This is a fork-tongued motherfucker I'm telling you about. Okay? They already knew it was all of these resources and crystals there because they own this motherfucker. You got to think, if Mexico gave you California, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Nevada, Utah, You could just say this damn near was Mexico. But then the question would be, who are the Mexicans? We're about to get into that, right? So the point being is that they already knew this was Mexico. So what you're seeing, if anything, politically, is what Malcolm X said is the chickens coming home to roost. This Blanco got you to believe, this is my point, that he talking about we're being invaded by somebody he stole the land from. Fuck out of here. And he's talking about, but we got to be specific, the very people that he stole the land from, he's talking about he's being invaded by. All right? Now, let's go to a link right quick. This link, it's a link in here. Hold on 1 second. Let me see something. There's a link in here I'm supposed to click. All right. Link. Hold on. Give me 1 second, you guys. Okay, right here at the Compromise of 1850. All right, the Compromise. This is very important, brothers. We're just gonna go over this real quick, just to hone this in, right? All right. So it's going to give you two big things, all right? The Louisiana Purchase. Circumstances changed in 1803 when Napoleon Bonaparte sold President Thomas Jefferson 828,000 square miles of land west of the Mississippi River. The Louisiana Purchase created new challenges for the federal government. Besides land ownership, issues regarding the native inhabitants. Congress eventually had to address the question of the expansion of slavery in the new territory. It wasn't about slavery. It was about straight up fucking war. You can't have slaves if you don't, you see what I'm saying? You yourself are not stable, right? This Blanco came over here, was disease ridden, didn't even know how to eat. He talk about on Thanksgiving how we fed his ass. So how the fuck you got slaves and we feeding you? What the fuck is you talking about? All right, but let's go down here. War with Mexico. Although not a perfect solution in the minds of all parties, especially abolitionists, the Missouri Compromise muffled the debate over the extension of slavery in the United States for over 3 decades. Things changed in 1846 when the U.S. started a war with Mexico that vastly expanded American territorial possessions in the West. So why is all of this stuff important? Why is this important? Because we're going to show you how deep the lies goes and how the Blanco has been exceptional at getting us to war with each other. To war with each other, right? Because he knows that colorism is a thing and all this different stuff. So how do we know this? Let's go to an article. Let's speed off into this shit. A family celebrates Juneteenth in Mexico, where their black ancestors first found freedom. Let's go. Corina Torralba Harrington, who is Mexican-American, is a descendant of black Seminoles, formerly enslaved blacks who lived among Native Americans in Florida before going to Mexico. Let's read. This is by Suzanne Gamboa, published June 19, 2021. Rather than staying at home in Texas where Juneteenth was first celebrated, Corina Torralba Harrington goes to her birthplace, Nacimiento de los Negros in Mexico, where her ancestors built a community long before slavery fully ended in the United States. Celebrating Juneteenth in Texas as a day when Union General Gordon Granger declared slaves have been freed is, quote unquote, not our celebration really, because our people freed themselves, end quote, she said, referring to her black Seminole ancestors known as Negros Moscojos in Mexico. Negro is the word for black in Spanish. They found freedom more than a decade before the 1863 Emancipation Proclamation and before Granger enforced it in Texas on June 19, 1865. Pause, sidebar, gonna be powerful than a motherfucker. Now, when niggas celebrate Juneteenth, understand that Juneteenth was started in Texas, supposedly. Texas was a product of Mexico. Your tribes, these Mexican tribes, was the ones who supposedly said we free for. Oh my goodness, it's about to get deep. I don't know if y'all walking. I don't know if y'all walk with me. Hold on. Let's let me take a pause because I get hyped. I get to yelling in the mic. People be telling me I go through these fluctuations because, man, I be so excited to get y'all this information because we got to see all of these contradictions. Niggas sitting up here talking about Mexicans and vilifying them, not understand that the Blanco playing on you with some heavy symbolism right now. He know that you the parents of these Mexicans. How we been? Oh, let's keep going before I show you. This looks like a traditional Mexican woman, but what she finna show you should blow your fucking mind. Quote unquote, our celebration is a commemoration of all the people who were free on that day, Torralba said. In her Mexican hometown, June 19th, is El Valle de los Negros, the dance of the blacks, or El Dia del Negro, the day of the black. Nigga, I am killing you niggas. They know the real Mexicans know their ancestors was black people. So if if the Blanco telling you that the Mexicans came from the Indians and the Mexicans are saying that black people were our parents, who's it? Man, stop it. We ain't got to say no more. Let's continue to keep reading. Let her show the physical evidence. Like Torralba and her extended family, many Americans and Mexicans trace their heritage to enslaved blacks whose quest to be free forced them to journey to what is now Florida, where they lived amongst. Now, mind you, their quest to be free took them to Florida. Oh, the Blanco told you that the quest to be free took you to North with Harriet Tubman. Oh, this is traditional black history. And then remember what I told you? I said, what does it make sense to go all the way north when Florida was ruled by Spain and Florida was not sold to the United States until 1821 with the Adams-Honest Treaty? Why would I spend my time going all the way north when I can go Florida where other free blacks were? Okay? Myth debunked. Fuck these niggas talking about. Seminole Native Americans are sometimes intermarried, later going to Oklahoma and finally to Mexico because this was our land. We all over this bitch. If you notice, we go to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now all of a sudden the Indians disappear. Now they calling us niggas. But they tell you that we went to the Oklahoma Trail of Tears. Then all of a sudden Tulsa is black. We know Tulsa's black, but then we failed to realize that the Blanco said that the Indians went to Tulsa. Which one is it? And even if we do the Mendelian concept of genetics, we know that when a nigga have a baby with anybody, it's coming out. When a black woman have a baby with anybody, it's coming out black. This is our shit. So ain't no Native Americans intermarrying within no black society, and then you still a Native American when that baby popped up, even if that was the concept, bitch. Because when you have babies with black people come out. We're the only group of people who can kill you by love. We're the only group of people on this planet that can exterminate you by love. Making love to your women, or our women making love to your men. We can exterminate you in a generation. Because God is love, baby. I'm on fire in this bitch. Because I'm on fire in this bitch, baby. Okay? Let's continue on. Yet Torralba didn't learn about any of this history as a student in Texas. Of course you're not going to learn about it in Texas, the very state that was sold to the United States by Mexico. Quote unquote, growing up in school, I've never heard Juneteenth or, the history of the black Seminoles in Florida, she said. Generations later, she and her relatives journeyed to the past, unearthing their connection to the black Seminole history that spans centuries, crosses borders, combines cultures, and is a story of a people aching for survival and freedom. Because as I told you, you cannot make a decision or a judgment until you know the story, and it is not a true story until you know the whole story. I am killing you niggas. I preface this video right now by 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, scholarship, news reporting, education. But overall, here at the FOF squad, waking your ass up. Let's get it.
These are the sights and sounds of El Día de los Negros, or Day of...
Hold on. I forgot to share my screen, I think, because I done got so damn excited. I got so damn excited. Is the screen shared? Yeah, it is shared. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place, y'all. I'm in this bitch all over the place. All right, let's go. I'm sorry about that.
The blacks. So,
hold on. Let's go. Listen. Look at this shit. Have you seen? First of all, one's in the chat if you've seen this before. One's in the chat if you've seen this before. Avery says, "Thank you, Heru." Oh, no doubt. Because we gotta eat. Our people gotta know what's going on. One's in the chat if you've seen this before. I want to see if you guys seen this before. I'm gonna just wait for see All right, let me see. So I'm not getting no ones. Let's play though. Let's go.
These are the sights and sounds of El Día de los Negros, or
El Dia de los Negros. Tribute. Moscojos. All right, they letting you know we came from niggas. We came from niggas, okay? Let's go.
Day of the Blacks, celebrated on Juneteenth in a town called Nacimiento de los Negros in Coahuila, Mexico.
My name is Ashley Rodriguez, and I'm a descendant of the Black Seminole Indian. My first time actually going to Nacimiento, I was, I think, 5 or 6 years old. And then from then on, we'll kind of make trips periodically down to Nacimiento to celebrate Juneteenth. Nobody really knows about the Mexican side of it.
Nacimiento de los Negros, which translates to birthplace of the blacks, is the town.
Nacimiento de los Negros, birthplace of the blacks. So when these blancos telling you about Mexico, you be invaded, they telling you your children. Oh, hold on. Let's go. Let me stop.
Cogos settled in 1849, just a few hours south of the Texas border. They are descended from slaves who escaped to Florida and
look at these pictures. I look like Dr. Sabi. Look at these. Look at their grandfather. I am killing you niggas. Hold on, I gotta pause. I gotta let this shit sink in. I gotta take a break. Hold on. I got to get my motherfucking mind right. I got to get my mind right, bro. I got to get my mind right. Hold on, y'all. Forgive me, y'all. Hold up. All right, let's resume. This nigga look like Dr. Sabi on your ass. Dr. Sabi wasn't just in Honduras. This nigga was over here. He got a whole Mexican lineage going on in this bitch, bro. Let's go.
Later made their way down to Mexico.
We're talking about the 18th century, more or less. When they got to Florida, they...
Look at these people. Look at these. They got Mexican, so-called, quote-unquote, Mexican names, too. All right? But let's go.
Mixed culturally with the Indian Seminoles, and they became the Black Seminoles. They were removed during the Trail of Tears to Oklahoma, which was then the Indian Territory.
So once they got to Oklahoma, where they told them that they would be free and have land, they realized that.
Look at them. This is in Mexico, people. Look at your people. Look who they said the Indians was. They kept removing your people, having your people move. And then they slick because these they gatekeepers, they got to sit up here and say, oh, they mixed in with the Native Americans. No, these were the Americans. These were the Indians. The lie is because remember, the Blanco has the God complex. He wanted to make it believe, came over here in peace, had a couple contracts went south. Oh, he had to create and establish this shit, technology, bring all of this shit to you savages, especially in addition with Christianity, which would help to stabilize your behavior. And all of a sudden we look back and we say, oh, if it wasn't for the Blanco, where would we be? Most of our people would be alive. All right? Let's go.
It wasn't true. It was a lie. And
oh, it wasn't true. It was a lie. How many times have we heard that? All right. Straight. When you see this woman, you'll say this woman straight Mexican. And you know what this woman gonna show you? She gonna show you a picture of her grandmother and blow your fucking mind. All right.
They can come and take them anytime they wanted to, the masters. So they decided, they had to leave.
So it was a very harsh, terrible journey that our people had to go through.
Look. This is Dino Rodriguez. Did this look like a Dino Rodriguez to you? Does she look like a Rodriguez? Huh? Stop letting this cracker capture your imagination. Stop letting the cracker capture your imagination. All right, let's go.
To get to freedom. They didn't allow them freedom there in Oklahoma. And John Horse and Wildcat, they heard, that there's a place in Mexico that they could go to, that they could be free.
Mexico needed to hire people to defend the border from the possibility of more U.S. invasion. So what happened with the...
Hold on, more U.S. invasion? More, I wish I had an echo on that shit. More U.S. invasion because we're being invaded. We are under an invasion. We are under an invasion. Let's go.
Black Seminoles is that they managed to negotiate a deal with the Mexican state in exchange for land and citizenship.
Karina and Dina grew up knowing little about their heritage, but...
This her family. Look at her. Look at her black. Look. This her family. Okay. All right. Let's go.
Are now dedicated to preserving their stories.
We knew that my grandfather and my mom.
Look at her grandfather and her. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. But when you see that Mexican lady on the street, you in our country. Here come as always for the chosen people, here come our children coming back to us. Here come our children coming back to us. As the Blanco is a concoction, he's still a child of ours, a bastard child, although he may be, because he didn't come through natural means. Here come our children coming back to us, because we have to understand the same energy applies to everybody else, and it applies to us too as well. The chickens have come home to roost. This is a situation we put ourselves in, brothers and sisters. But we okay with that when we know the whole story. All right? Let's get it.
And my dad's side, they were both black Seminoles, so we didn't know anything else. That's what we're working with, my cousins and I, on, teaching the history and preserving, the traditions.
One of our cousins, Bertha Benson, did a YouTube video for Siska, and it was talking about how the Seminole language was a lost language.
And I didn't want that language to be lost, because that's part of my history, that's part of my family. So that's when I started to research more and learn about my history.
Part of remembering their traditions is traveling to Nacimiento every year on Juneteenth to celebrate with the town.
We have June 19 in Mexico, but we didn't know it as June 19. We knew it as El Baile de los Negros.
See, they didn't know it as June 19th. They was celebrating this shit with y'all, and they was calling it the Day of the Blacks. They was celebrating you niggas. They was celebrating y'all. See, because the Blanco know. Hold on. Let me exit this full screen. Let me exit this right quick, because I ain't scared of y'all. The Blanco know. Matter of fact, let's give you a picture. Let's give you a photo that you gotta remember. Let's give you a photo that you gotta remember. 2 photos that you gotta remember. All right. First, we gotta always remind ourselves of the crystal framework. Remember, in Sierra de Naica, Chihuahua, Mexico, these crystals. The vast majority of Mexico is not inhabited. It's mountainous region. These mountains, okay? We told you that they say the Mexicans are descended from the Aztecs, the Incas, and the Olmec empires, okay? Our people. Because they're already showing you as of recently, they descended from our people. What you traditionally, think of as a Mexican is just, our children. Hands fucking down, they are family, okay? This whole country was ours, all right? And so, as you see, like before, when these Blancos discover their crystals, you see these Blancos. This is NASA, right? In here, you know what I'm saying? They kick these people out because they're like, the only way we can't allow you to be next to your crystals, because they can't allow any of us to activate. Hold on. You think these Blancos don't know what they're doing? They like before, hold on. Wow. Before we allow any of you motherfuckers to activate, being by your spiritual animals, being by your actual crystals, we will blow this bitch up. So it comes off as political theater. Oh, the migrants are crossing before, but we're showing you what's really actually going on. We're showing you what Blancos do when they find out about crystals. All right? And they understand the significance of that, because they have not mastered, but they've gotten, better at, understanding that hidden universe through what we call X-ray crystallography. Okay? All right. So, let me see it. Look at chat. It says, Rizzy said, you can go to China and you'll be showing the same pictures, bro. I'm trying to tell you. The Taino tribe. Yep. Taino. That's when they reach the Caribbeans. Yeah. And all that different stuff. Yep. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? This is, let's see. All right. Hold on 1 second. All right. And so I also want to read something from a book right quick, you guys. I tell you guys to get this book, The Gun, the Ship, and the Pen by Linda Colley, Warfare, Constitutions, and the Making of the Modern World. You know, just if it's at a library, check it out. I mean, it's a heavy read, 413 pages. But what I'm gonna show you is I'm gonna go to and I'm only on page 60 because I've been reading, I've been getting a lot of different books, and some of them been keeping my attention and stuff. But I wanted to read a couple of things just to show you, you know, of course, how all this stuff goes. It says on page 31, The Gun, the Ship, and the Pen, she states, constructing, manning, and maintaining these maritime behemoths, they're talking about the ships that these Europeans were building, right, was hideously expensive. In order to build a 74-gun warship, that is not even the most lethal ship available, a shipbuilding yard might require close to 3,000 mature oak trees, and high quality timber was only one of the necessary raw materials involved. So what you got to understand, that the real gold that the Blanco came here for was the gold over in California, which was the trees. Okay, we know that a lot of these trees were mountains. We're finna go off into this in this next segment and shit, but that's, like we said, stories for other days. Right now we're gonna hone in and show you what was going on. They had to build up their war machine. It took about 3,000 trees, and then obviously, you know, it takes more trees, it requires more trees as the ships got bigger. But mind you, you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of ships. They cranking these ships out, destroying Mother Nature. Remember, 97% of the redwood trees, or those big sequoias and shit, are gone. You're looking at only 3% that are left. And why was the Blanco there? What made everybody get so crazy about our land? Why was everybody coming and rushing to California? Let's show you the receipts. Hold on one second. Give me 1 second, you guys. Where did it go? This? Okay, yeah, it was still loading. The receipt was still loading. That's why it didn't show up. All right, so I'm finna share my screen. We're finna read this article right quick. The Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire, long horseshoe-shaped, seismically active belt of earthquake epicenters, volcanoes, and tectonic plate boundaries that fringes the Pacific Ocean. Okay? Gonna go. This is the Ring of Fire, brothers and sisters. So you see North America here, right? You see California along this. All right, and it's like this horseshoe, right? And then you see, as you see over here, you see Japan, you see the Philippines, and all of this different shit. You see Australia all over here. All right, so this is a Pacific plate. All right, and so you got all these volcanoes. Remember, we talked about the power of volcanoes. Remember, not all mountains are volcanoes, but this is where most of your volcanoes and volcanic activity is. But let's read for a second. That way we can get you guys abreast at what the Ring of Fire is if you don't already know. All right, okay. For much of its 40,000 kilometers or 24,900 mile length, the belt follows chains of island arcs such as Tonga and New Hebrides, the Indonesian archipelago, the Philippines, Japan, the Kuril Islands, and the Aleutians, as well as other arc-shaped geomorphic features such as the western coast of North America and the Andes Mountains. Volcanoes are associated with the belt throughout its length. For this reason, it is called the Ring of Fire. A series of deep ocean troughs frame the belt on the oceanic side, and the continental land masses lie behind. Most of the world's earthquakes, the strongest earthquakes, and approximately 75% of the world's volcanoes occur within the Ring of Fire. Okay? This is what you need to know. All right. So when they came here, they understood how rich this area was and why this will actually decide the fate of the world. This area right here. Okay. Major volcanic events that have occurred within the Ring of Fire since 1800 included the eruptions of Mount Tambora, Krakatoa in 1883. So it goes to Mount St. Helens. All right. We forget these are all in the Ring of Fire. The Alaska earthquake of 1964, the Chile earthquake of 2010, and the Japan earthquake of 2011, as well as the earthquake that produced the devastating Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004. So this is where this energy is going to come from, brothers and sisters. Let me go. So remember when we told you that energy, cults of high places? All right, now you know why they in the forest and redwood and all of these cults and shit running around in the trees, talking about their sacrifices. Now you see why they conduct these rituals, letting you know that they've done good for their God. They've conquered the chosen people. They got us confused. They got us fighting each other. They got us seeing each other through lenses of nationality. Oh, I'm Nigerian. I'm American. Some shit that's still named after a European. I'm Latino, Latin America. You were never that before you came to the European. But now he has you identify. Remember, because what you know, who you are is not important. I always told you that what you are is important. When we find out that we're the crystallologists, that this motherfucker running around crystal hunting, that he's involved in Star Wars campaigns, all right? We'll never get it. We'll be somewhere in the year 3024 in the future. Could you imagine like a Jetsons type of scenario? Niggas would be in spaceships and shit. Like this Blanco, man, you see the Star Troopers, how they beat down that Negro? You see how the motherfucking Jabba the Hutt and them kick that nigga in the head? It's 3024. We got flying spaceships. Why ain't the Blanco changed? Because you don't know shit about the Blanco. You gonna keep saying this shit. As long as this Blanco here, you gonna be the year 3000, year 4. It's the year 4000. It's the year 5. Why ain't this Blanco changed? Never finna happen. Because he understands and she understands her objective. One more image I want you guys to look at, brothers and sisters. Share my screen. Do not let this be the mother who nurtures you. Let your alma mater be Mother Nature, the natural matrix. Let the mother who nurtures you be Mother Nature, the natural matrix. Not the artificial matrix, not this Blanco woman who's trying to supersede or who's trying to supplant or substitute Mother Nature, the black woman, okay? Hold on 1 second. Because I may, let me see something. Let me see something right quick. Because I want to show y'all how we got to get. I want to show y'all how we got to get. And according to, we're going to bring up one of our, one of our prolific leaders and stuff. And we're going to show you why this is important because, when he say it, matter of fact, I think it's in my watch later. Hold on 1 second. Let me go. Hold on 1 second, you guys, because I think this is powerful. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I think this is so beautiful. So we finna end it on. I'm gonna read some of the chat. I'm gonna try to get this in between the 2 hour mark, because we know YouTube be tripping and shit. But we finna take a look at what Malcolm X has said, because we have to understand this is something that is crucial when we identify ourselves with a revolution. When I'm telling you that the black woman is God and all of that different stuff, it's even my mom. My mom called me yesterday or a couple days ago. She was like, "Did you speak to God today, baby?" I said, "Didn't you call me yesterday?" She liked to hang. She said, "You always speaking that." But my mom get tired. You my reflection. You a little G. You're not the big G, but you're a reflection. I know she be hating that, but we got to understand this. We know that since this is a matrilineal society feigning as if it's a patrilineal one. We know how much power women have, right? Like Dave Chappelle said, if we could fuck women in a cardboard box, there'd be no mansions. And it probably wouldn't be no expensive vehicles either. You know what I'm saying? But the point being is that our women are the center of this. Matter of fact, to even consider yourself a revolutionary. Remember, this is key. That's why even Dr. Martin Luther King took such heavy criticism, and that had to be suppressed in terms of him trying to have a relationship with a white woman, is because the revolution hinges on the black woman. You could be the most intelligent nigga in the world, but if you walk around with a Blanco woman, it's over, said and done with. Like, you can be respected to a degree, but you won't be embraced. Woo! You can be respected, but you won't be embraced. Because your people know that the revolution is all about her. This is why it's critical. Like, nobody can even call themselves a revolution if they are not aligned or have an allegiance to the black woman. You can call it what the fuck you want. You can be the most militant nigga out there. You can kill 1,000 crackers with one knife. But if you go and do that and then sleep and lay up and marry a white woman, nullified. Because they know the war is about her. With that being said, let's see what Malcolm X had to say about this. I preface this with 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, scholarship, education, but overall here at the FOF Squad, waking your ass up.
We teach you to love the hair that God gave you. Here you way out in the middle of the ocean, can't swim, and you worried about someone that's in the bathtub and can't swim. We don't steal, we don't gamble, we don't lie, and we don't cheat.
Hold on, man. Look at this sister, right? Man, I swear our women so beautiful, bro. Look at these goddesses to me, bro. I don't care what you're talking about. I don't know how you see our women, and I literally really don't give a fuck. I'm swearing everything I love. I'm a revolutionary through and through. I love our women, especially when you realize exactly what they are, bro. It's not about what you know, remember we talked about not a lot of people are going to live up to their potential. That still doesn't deny the godship in them. You got to give them credit for what credit is due, man. And watch what Malcolm X says, and I can't do nothing but just, this resonated with me when this man said this.
That also deprives the government of revenue. Because you can't get into a whiskey bottle without getting past the government seal. You can't open a deck of cards without getting past the government seal. There's a white man makes the whiskey and then puts you in jail for getting drunk. He sells you the cards and the dice and puts you in jail when he catches you using them. So he's against us because we fix it where he can't catch you anymore.
Woo, look at these beautiful women. They looking for you to lead them. They created you, soldier. Look at Malcolm X's whole front row. You think that ain't by design? He wanted to talk to them. And you know why? You'll see in a second. Whole front row full of beautiful queens. Look at this shit. Most men, man, stop playing.
We take the dice out of your hands and the cards out of your hands and the whiskey out of your head. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman.
The most disrespected person, a person in America is the black woman. Let's get it.
Unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. And as Muslims, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to respect our women and to protect our women. And the only time a Muslim really gets real violent is when someone goes to molest his woman. We will kill you for our woman.
Woo, boy, you better hear what I'm talking about. Now, is this nigga, is Malcolm X, is he just, is he catering to black women? You know what I'm saying? Is he a simp? Is he simping right now? I don't know. Let's figure out. Let's see what the rest of you guys say. Is he simping?
I'm making it plain, yes. We will kill you for our woman. We believe that if the white man will do whatever is necessary to see that his woman gets respect and protection, then you and I will never be recognized as men until we stand up like men and place the same penalty over the head of anyone who puts his filthy hands out to put in the direction of our women.
Enough fucking said. I am killing you niggas. Because what we got to realize, that whack-ass argument with niggas, oh, they was on welfare, they took them, they put a plan, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you dealing with capitalist America. Of course, this motherfucker going to make sure, because the women has the children. The children have to eat. The children consume resources. You know what I'm saying? What the blocker want to do? He subsidized all these fake-ass crystals and shit, so he ensured that there would be no resistance. on the part of the nation when she feeds these children these fake ass crystals, and he indoctrinates her children with this fake ass history and adulterated history and compartmentalized thought that we would use and parade around as a holistic worldview, damaging us, having us war with each other, war with our brothers and sisters, and war with those who come from the lineage of the great ones, the eumelanated species or the crystallogens. Okay, that is what you need to know. Stop all these petty arguments, because you're not gonna stop the machine. You're not going to stop this Blanco from doing what they do best, killing each other. This idea that the Blanco was the heir or the acme of solidarity, like they always stick with each other, or they stay on cold. Really? Do they stay on cold? They always warn with each other. Blanco told you that in 1776, he got his independence from the Blanco, from the other Blanco, the British man, right? But in 1812, look up what I'm saying to you. In 1812, the British burned down the White House. After the Blanco tells you in history classes that he gained his independence from that Blanco. He's a liar. That's the only thing he is exceptional at doing, is fucking lying. So you have to understand that we have been invaded. This is the invasion. Their primary resource, or the goal that they really actually talk about, is the plasma. Okay, that's what they came here for, and that's what they continue to keep getting. And as they excel or accelerate in their ability to understand what these things are and use them accordingly, it will be at our detriment if we don't figure out and catch up to the fact that they are on a war path. They are a war machine, a killing machine. It was not slavery. This is projection. They eventually wanted to be slavery. Okay, and while you getting lulled to sleep waiting for an end game, it's already occurring. You already live in doomsday. Okay, so this is what we need to know. So hopefully we cleared up a lot of things in terms of, these arguments. And then we've seen all of the esoteric work at play with them having us participate in those rituals, all over again. And we see that they're unapologetic in their stance. Nigga, we did it. Move on. We won. Kick rocks. If you want it, come back, take it. All right. That's what this is all about. So we should, even when we see and hear this stuff in the conscious community about people like, oh, somebody in black, you're going to hear a lot more stuff in this month of February. You're going to see a lot more tragedies and shit. This is only going to be the beginning of it, right? Because they know that they are diametrically opposed to your energy through and through. We are the only people, like I said, that can exterminate a whole group of people just by being in love with them. That's deep as fuck, and you have to understand that. That's why they have to create weapons of war to ensure their survival. All right, and I'm going to read some things in the comment right quick before we get up out of here, because we encroaching upon that 2 hour mark. So we says Avery said, well said, my brother. We need to wake the hell up and see ourselves through each other's eyes and not outside of our culture. And Jay Chosen said, that's why I've started shopping more at the Hispanic grocery store. They have a variety of fruits and vegetables that aren't in stores. Yep. I think DJ ZPE says Osceola, aka Essen Yohola, started the seminar. Forgive me if I'm ruining that name, bro. Cimarron Wars over the murder of his woman, Morning Dew. Okay, I have to look into that. Okay. Sacco said, same pictures lost in Europe. Check the book, House of the Lords. Crazy. Okay. All right. And Riz also said, the first people of all lands are black. Exactly. And Sam G said, look at that grandfather used up when I showed the video of yeah, no doubt. Yeah, because at the end of the day, what we're going to be dealing with is that if the final war takes place, it may just take place here. I can't see through this emoji for some. I hate this shit. I can't even take it down. Let me see if I turn my phone this way. I might be able to see this comment. Says, do you recommend venerating our ancestors? I think you answered that before. Yeah, of course. I mean, you're living through the, the veneration of your ancestors comes about by how well you take care of your vessel. Because remember, you are the physical result of all your ancestors. You see what I'm saying? And the way you pay homage to it is just saying about, because, you know, a lot of people are fans of Bobby Hemming, and I am too. You know, he used to do those ashes before and call out the gods and all that different stuff. And then he realized later on is like the way you know, walk on this earth will show how much respect you have for your parents and for Mother Earth. You see what I'm saying? And so what they're doing is so you would think, so this is the point. The point being is that at the end of the day, we wonder why the Blanco's doing so much damage to Mother Earth, because he's trying to get her to react. Okay, because like anything, when it gets sick, there'll be an immune reaction. All right, whether it's through her people or the earth in and of itself, he's trying to get her to react. All right, he feels as if he's protected when he does so. We're going to go into that into the next segment and stuff. So this is critical, like we said. First, like, you know, as we take all this understanding, we know that they have a science where they've been able to so-called decode the natural matrix, right? They reverse engineer it, bring us technology and make it appear, seem as if it's new, right? And then it captivates us. It captures our imagination. We think this Blanco running around here doing godlike shit. Nothing could be further from the truth. He runs around here. He understands how to conduct biological and chemical warfare. He brought different species, but he took thousands of years with the aid and the help of those who claim to be intelligent. All the Moors taught these people how to fight, as if that's something to be proud of, right? So they educated these people to use them as weapons. But of course, like we said, the Frankenstein variable came into play and the creation got out of control. Now they're saying we've been so drunk with power, we've had power for so long, we don't want to give it up. We're greater than the gods that created us. We're greater than the gods that created us. And now we're seeing the end results of that. So it's our job to wake up and redefine ourselves, not by who they say we are, but what we are. An organic metallic being. I told you, look at that periodic table of elements: calcium, magnesium, manganese, selenium. All these are metals. Right? He's trying to switch it up so that he knows that your master gland, the pineal gland, which we call the seat of the soul, gets calcified. Remember, calcite, like we talked about, is a mixture of calcium and carbon, a metal or a crystal that he says is extremely sharp and has this form of electricity that crystals can convert to sound, and then sound can convert to electric signals. Like I said, back and forth. This is extremely important. This is why I told you, brothers and sisters, to watch your crystals. All right? And to revamp on all these things. We're going to go into it a little bit deeper and clean a lot of this stuff up. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this segment. I always definitely enjoy kicking it with the FOF squad. And with that being said, you already know how I get down. And I say, who is God? God is the judge. And why is she the judge? Because she decides who wins and loses, not my opponent. Who is my opponent? He does not exist. And why does he not exist? Because he is merely a dissenting voice